and I was blue. And then you touched me and suddenly I was a lilac sky. But you realised purple just wasn't for you. I think the wig might have looked better, but we're here now. So, hi everyone, welcome back to my channel. Long time no see, which I think is the exact same thing I said in my last video, which was over a year and a half ago now. Today I wanted to talk about my love of lilac. And when I think about it, did I choose lilac or did lilac choose me? Well, the truth is both. I love lilac, but it's not my favourite colour. My favourite colour is magenta, which is the perfect shade in between pink and purple, thank you very much. When I was younger, I used to wear pretty much any bright colour available to me. Now my wardrobe's definitely a lot more toned down and intentional with the shades that I'm wearing, a bit more muted. I think that's what happens though when you get older. Your style kind of matures a little bit and you realise you don't have to create a striking outfit just through colour. I think that was definitely my first point of call when I was younger. I was just so drawn to every shade under the rainbow, making my outfits as bright and bold as possible. But now I think I'm definitely more interested about layering and accessorizing. I used to also have a lot of red. That was probably the main colour that was in my wardrobe, and I actually still really love red, but I just don't wear it as much. Oh, saying that, I did just buy this red top from Mason Rapita. I don't know how to pronounce it, but so sorry if I butchered that, but it's just this plain red t-shirt with this bold candy text on it. Anyway, so yeah, trying to incorporate a bit more red back into my wardrobe because I definitely miss it, and I do think red and lilac go really nicely together. So some key pieces in my wardrobe is this 6-dimension top. I've had my eye on these tops for a while but could never choose which one I wanted, and then they had a Black Friday sale, so I got this one with the lilac knitting and then this mesh print on the top, which I really love. It's definitely become one of my favourite tops in my wardrobe. Next up is this shirt that I got from the charity shop but is originally from George, and again this is like the perfect shade of lilac. And one thing you need to know about me is I love a shirt and I love a tie. I did actually style this in one of my old videos when I went away on holiday, and she's still in my wardrobe now because just the perfect classic shirt in my favourite shade. This is the most recent item I got from Amsterdam when I went there for my birthday weekend in March, and this was in one of the little vintage stores. The brand is Lunch Porter. It's got green, red and lilac in it, which are the main colours in my wardrobe, so it just blended perfectly with everything I have, and I actually really love wearing it with this top that I'm currently wearing. I got these socks for my birthday maybe 2 years ago now, which are Vivienne Westwood, but they're just a gorgeous shade of purple which can zhuzh up any look really. So to add to my lilac collection, I've decided to use my sewing skills, putting my degree to work I guess, and definitely making it look very difficult to sew something because I don't know what I'm doing. But it's all in good fun, and how am I supposed to get a job if I don't know how to do it? So over to Bridget from yesterday. Coming up with this video, I remembered this fabric I had that I found at uni like 2 years ago in one of the scrap bins we had As a disclaimer, I did think this was a shade of lilac, but upon looking at her again, it's more of a periwinkle than a lilac. But we're just going to keep moving, we're just going to keep the wheels turning. Today I'm bringing in my trusty mannequin. She hasn't got a name, so if anyone would like to name her, put your suggestions down in the comments. At the minute she's giving like Vanessa, maybe. I'm gonna use my handy assistant today to try and drape this fabric a bit and come up with some more ideas for silhouette, because I literally have no idea what I want to do at the minute. The one idea I have is just I want a nice thick waistband, maybe some ruching at the side, and then drape whatever excess fabric I have left. So with all of that being said, let's get on with it. Firstly, I'm laying out my fabric and I decided to start with the waistband. So this is for the back piece. I've got this elastic, so it's super stretchy and I can easily take it on and off. Here's me trying to decide what I'm doing, because this was definitely very freestyled. So I decided to stretch out the fabric just as much as it could go, so the back piece could definitely be very flexible, and I just marked that on my fabric with tailor's chalk, and then I'm working out how wide the strip needs to be. I wanted it to be wide enough so I could fold it over and also have a 1 centimetre seam allowance on it. Now I'm marking all of my measurements on, double checking that's the right width, and it was, so away I go. Drawing on the markings and then cutting that out, and that's for the back. So for the front, I've measured how long the elastic is, and then the front is going to be this length, which is going to equal my waist measurement in total, if that makes sense. So I'm just marking that measurement on and then using the back piece to measure the width for the front, just so they're matching. So this is the back piece of the waistband that will be gathered to the length of the elastic, and then I've got my front piece there. Next, I'm sewing down the sides of the waistband and kind of sandwiching the elastic in between that, so it will be all attached together. And I get to use my new overlocker machine, which is very exciting. It's great to have an excuse to use it, and it's definitely a lot easier to sew stretchy fabrics on this machine compared to a normal domestic one. Now that the sides are sewn down, I'm folding over the fabric so then I can sew down that seam, and it's gonna cover the elastic. And I feel like there's probably a better way of doing this, but it did work in the end. So I'm sewing along here, and then I had to scrunch up the fabric so then I could sew that whole piece like I'm doing here. Love that. And the back definitely was more ruched than I wanted it to be, but overall, you know, adds a bit of a design element, I guess. So once I had my waistband sewn, I put it back on my mannequin, aka Vanessa, and I got the rest of my fabric and pinned it along the waistband just to see if I could drape it in a nice way. Here she is. And then I pulled down the waistband so it was right sides together with the fabric underneath and started pinning it so I could sew this down. So if I was to do this again, I would have hand sewn some of those gathers because I kind of forced it through the machine and it sort of worked, but it definitely wasn't the most seamless sewing. So yeah, but here I'm just trying to sew the waistband and that main piece of fabric together. Once the waistband and the main fabric was sewn together, I put it back on the mannequin and levelled out the bottom a bit just to make it a bit more refined, and then it was done. That felt like a very long journey to get where I am now. Had to override a lot of obstacles, but I'm glad we did it. We've actually completed something. I don't think you understand how much of an achievement it is for me to actually be able to complete a project and push through the hating it phase, because I literally was so ready to give up. But I really wanted to make this video, so thank God she pushed through. Thank you so much for watching today. I hope you stay tuned and subscribe. Hopefully I'll have more videos coming and I won't disappear for a year again, but knowing me, it's very possible, so don't get your hopes up. But love you lots and see you soon. Bye!